again, my little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial just for you. And today, this is something a little bit different, although it is still yarny. Yep, we have ourselves a little yarn hat. Absolutely adorable. I have seen these before. One actually, it had a little beard coming out the bottom, and it had a little button nose, and it was a little gnome, absolutely adorable. These are super cute and easy to make. You don't have to know crocheting or knitting or any sort of stitch work. No, it's just a matter of tying some simple knots and using some things that you probably already have around the house. Yep. And the reason why I was inspired to do this video is because my neighbor surprised me, and she came over with this little guy. And I was thinking to myself, how can I make it this size? Actually, this really cracked me up because it's a little pencil topper. Yeah, it's so cute. And so I didn't want to take it apart and figure out exactly how she did it. But I did figure it out. I think this is just so precious. Now, of course, if you want to, you could use it as a crochet hook cozy. Yeah, it's absolutely adorable. Whether it's a pen, pencil, crochet hook, what have you, I think it's so adorable. And so actually, I did make up a couple of my own. And you know what? They're really actually, they're kind of addictive, and they're very, very quick, very, very easy. And you can use, multiple colors. You can use acrylic, wool, worsted, DK weight, really whatever you want. Honestly, I would think that using thicker yarn is perhaps a little bit better as far as the structure is involved. But yeah, it's great for stash busting, those little scraps that you really don't want to throw away, and I love it. Now, the method of doing the big version and the little version is exactly the same. So I'm going to show you the little version. And yeah, so let's get started. Okay, so you really don't need much. Obviously, you are going to need some yarn. This is Pound of Love in the colorway of Pumpkin Spice, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, you need some yarn. Anything will do. You need a paper towel tube or a toilet roll tube. Either or is totally fine. And you can make quite a few with just one tube, believe you me, especially if you're making the minis. And you're going to need a little bit of tape. Now, this is what you're going to need if you're making the smaller one, not the bigger one. And some scissors. And you know what? I found actually that a crochet hook does help in one of the steps, believe it or not. And I like to use a small book to do my yarn wrapping. So get your materials together and let's get to it. Okay, so first things first, you're going to want to make the brim of the hat. Now, if you're making one of the larger ones, I would say about maybe an inch or, approximately or so. Now, if you're doing one of the smaller ones, I would say, maybe half an inch or so. Dealer's choice. It really depends on how large you want the brim to be. I think that about here would be totally adequate. So I'm just going to snip, and I'm just going to sort of fold this in half because we're going to be cutting this again anyway. So just cutting my way across. There we go. So that we end up with a ring. Now, if you're doing the larger one, yes, this would be wider, but also you would just be using this piece as is. Now, for the smaller version, going to basically just cut this on those fold lines There we go. And we're going to make this into a ring, hence the tape. Scotch tape works just fine. Masking tape works just fine. I would not suggest using like duct tape because that gets rather unruly rather fast. So just going to make our strip into a ring. Now you can use, of course, any sort of cardboard that you want, but this, it's already curved and it is a decent weight of cardboard, and I think it works just fine. And then you fold over your little ends. There we go. And it does not have to be perfect because this is going to be completely covered by yarn anyway. So we have ourselves a little ring. Now, of course, this is also adjustable. You can make this ultimately as big or as small as you want to. I think smaller is cuter, though. That's just me personally. All right, so from here, grab your book and your yarn, and we're going to do some wrapping. Now, it does not have to be exact. It doesn't have to be precise, nothing of the sort. But you want the length of your yarn to be, I would say, at least 6 inches. I mean, this is going to be way over, but does it matter? Nope. So what I'm going to do now is just wrap around my book, say, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 times. That should be definitely enough yarn. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. Now, this will totally be more than enough as far as I'm concerned, but you could also use this for another one if you have extra. That's totally fine. And then you just cut this. There we go. And again, it does not have to be neat and pretty. Quite all right. And then we're going to get started in with the tying, which also is remarkably simple. So let's get to it. Okay, so what we're going to do over and over and over and over again is folding our little piece of yarn in half and feeding the loop through the ring, and then feeding these two ends through that loop of yarn and creating a knot. Like so. Very similar to when you're making tassels at the end of a scarf. I think it's called the lark's head knot or the lark knot. Honestly, I was never a Boy Scout, so couldn't tell you, nor am I a sailor. So we're going to be basically doing this exact same thing all the way around our ring. And if you want to get schmancy, like I did with this one, I alternated colors. And so I've got a blue and sort of a peach, and just alternated all the way around. And if you're using the full ring, I would say do maybe, 2 of one, 2 of another, or really mix it up however you want. You can make it, very orchestrated or very random. So again, take your yarn and then feed the loop through, and then take your tails and then feed them through the loop. It's really as easy as that. And I think that these would make really cute ornaments, something to add to a present, or as, you know, I I I don't know, I think, why not have a little cozy for your crochet hook? I think that's adorable, or your pen or whatever. I think that's absolutely adorable. And just feed that through. There we go. And this is super, super, super easy. You know, something that you could get the kids involved with, or somebody who really likes yarn crafts, but perhaps they're not interested in crocheting per se, which, oh God, we won't go there. You guys know I'm all about crocheting and knitting, but this is fun too. This is a nice departure from the norm for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do these little loopy knots all the way around. And also what I find helps is if you sort of scooch your loops together, because you don't want to have any bare spots in between. You want this to be nice and packed together there. All right, so I'm going to do the rest of this ring off camera, and I'm going to show you what to do next. Alrighty, so I finished working my way all the way around, and I had about 8 strands left, although we are going to be using one of these to do some tying. Now, before we do that, here comes, the reason why I suggested having a crochet hook handy is because it makes this next step a lot easier. We're going to be pushing all of these strands through the center out to the other side. Now, yes, you could try to sort of scooch them this way. However, I find that it's much easier if you go in this way, grab some yarn with your hook, and pull it through. It's a lot easier. And I would suggest using a semi-large gauge hook because it makes it a little bit easier and it doesn't sort of split the yarn quite so much. I was using a smaller hook. Right now I'm using a size 6mm crochet hook, and this works just fine. So yeah, just pulling all of your loops through, all of your strands through. Really, really, really simple. And actually, one of the first times that I saw something similar to this, it was on the Canadian crocheter, Debbie's channel, and they were gnomes, and they were absolutely adorable. Right now, we're just making some hats. They're cute in their own right, I think. When I was growing up, there was a cartoon that I used to watch all the time. It was called David the Gnome. Absolutely adorable, full of fantasy and fairy tales and lore and so forth. Absolutely my cup of tea. Have any of you ever seen it? Okay, a little bit of a snag. That's okay, we got this. And just a few more. Okay, one more. Just got to get that. There we go. Okay, so from here, I suggest giving your strands a little tug, not so much that you end up warping your cardboard, but just a little bit of a tug. Make sure that none of them are loose on the inside. And then also I like to take my hook and give it a bit of a plunge, if you will, just to make sure that there aren't any stragglers hanging out. There we go. And then we are ready for the tying. So grabbing our additional scrap. So place your yarn down, then place your hat down. Now, as far as the height, again, totally up to you, kind of arbitrary. Now, to make a really, really good knot, I believe this is called the surgeon's knot. So going to wrap around as if we are tying our shoe for a square knot, but going to go another wrap around, and then I like to do yet another wrap around. So we have quite a few wraps there, and then pull. And this is not going anywhere. However, of course, to secure it even further, gonna give this a really good tug to secure it even further, because the last thing I want is for my knots to come undone. Just do another knot on top of that. There we go. And then one more for good measure, because, well, that's how I roll. Okay. And now for the fun part. Okay, before starting the fun part, I cannot stress this enough. You are going to thank me later. Grab a tissue. Because we are going to now do the trimming process, and this gets messy, but it is necessary. So we're just going to trim this down. And again, dealer's choice. You can trim it down as close as you want to, or leave it, foofy and so on and so forth. Now I trim off quite a bit, but I would rather have too much than not enough, because you can have a lot of fun shaping these. I like to get fairly close and turn it as you go. Give it the occasional foof. Now, another thing that you can do is actually you can separate the plies and get it really, really frizzed out. That is an option. Do I think it's worth that much effort? Not exactly. But yeah, you can trim it down nice and close. Go for a nice rounded uniform look, perhaps. It's looking adorable already. And just keep turning it to see if there are any errant strands that need some more attention than others. Okay, I think we are just about there. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we are good. Absolutely adorable. And all you have to do is just wrap this up, and you are good. So, grab a pencil, and he's well dressed. So whether you're making this size or the mammoth mama size, also I did use a tissue to sort of firm it up a little bit on the inside. And, if you want to use this as an ornament, you could always add a loop to the top later. Use it as an ornament, some garland, a bit of decoration. I just think that this is just so stinking cute. I love it. As my friend Rose would say, shut the front door. So, listen, everybody, if you liked this, please give a little thumbs up button down below. You know that I appreciate your appreciation, and I love doing these videos, whether it's knitting, crocheting, some sort of yarny craft, audiobook narrations, origami, cooking. I like to do a lot of things. And of course, my other YouTube channel, Fiber Spider Games, where I do a bunch of video game playthrough and commentary. A lot of fun. Would love to see you there too. And you know what to do until next time, right? I want all of you to stay inspired, stay crafty, stay caffeinated, stay stitching and all that good stuff, and please stay safe. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you in my next video. Bye for now, everybody, and have a great day.